Can you confirm in the chat that you see my screen? Can you hear me now? Hello, testing, testing. How about now?
It's connecting to audio, but then it's not actually.
Interesting.
So this is fine.
Oh well, yeah, this will work. So you want to start with some of the topic focus?
I would like to. I mean, I have my kids using MathWiz every week. You know, I try to get them at least doing half an hour, which I know is like the bare minimum of anything, but I figure that's, well, if I can get them that, then that's a good place to start. But sometimes I want to focus a lesson just for a single kid, and I don't know how to do that.
So what
Or
I'll
if
do,
I can do that.
yeah, so what I'll do is I'll show you how to find lessons that if you want like a single kid to work on, and that's what the teacher's resource is for. However,
Yes, okay.
it's not going to record in the reports.
Okay.
You can only do that topic focus as a whole class.
Okay.
All right, so yeah, so what I'll do is I'll jump into just my demo account.
Okay.
So just as you always do, just log into MathWiz, username, password. Now we're going to launch the MathWiz Teacher's Resource. So this is actually a bank of all of our content. We have over 1,200 lessons that we broke out by grade level and then by topic area. So once this loads here, I'll show you how that works.
Yeah, I don't use the teacher's resource side as often
Right.
as I do the other side, the management side.
Yeah, we typically see that. We just feel like the lack of exposure, people don't really know it's there. So that's what we're trying to do right now, is just kind of say, this is what we have. This is another service we provide on top of, you know, the individualized personal tutor. You actually have access to all of this as well. So at the bottom, you see we have our grade levels. I'm just going to use third grade. If you know what you want to show, so do you have a different one?
Yeah, I'm thinking of a fifth grader specifically.
So, you can do fractions, but these are the topics that you have under fifth grade. So to access the actual lesson, you just pick the topic. Is there one you want me to pick? Measures, maybe?
No, really anything.
Okay.
He needs help with everything. So just whatever you pick is fine, and then I can go from there.
Yeah.
We are doing geometry right now, but really fractions, you know, multiplication, division, anything.
All right. So I just clicked on fifth grade fractions, and under the fractions tab, you then have 4 levels. So they kind of build on each other, and then you get to level D.
Okay.
To play the lesson, all you have to do is click on the little screenshot. But it's also going to give you the description of the objective being covered. Now, do you ever look for lessons based on the Common Core numbers?
I haven't, no, on the teacher's resource side, no. I usually, like, I focused my class a few times. Like, when we did fractions, I had them focus on fractions. But just, you know, how it will focus them at a level that's appropriate to them. And this kid wasn't even on fractions yet. You know what I mean? So I need to do other stuff for him.
Right. So, yeah, I have some ideas for you with the teacher's resource.
Okay.
So first is the actual lessons. So if you take a look at the lesson and you think it's appropriate, it looks like a rapid recall, so it's like mental calculations, just trying to answer the question. But you can play you can play any of these lessons just by clicking.
Change this improper fraction to a mixed number.
So when they go in here and they answer questions, if they don't log out and you want to see how they performed in those set of 10 or 7 questions, if they don't log out, this results button prints off a little report.
Okay.
So even though it doesn't go back into your Tutoring Plus reports, you can still see how they did on the lessons that you asked them to do.
Yeah. Okay.
Another great way is using the content for like whole class instruction. So you can actually search any of the content for keywords, and it will pull up all of the lessons under the topic areas that are associated with that keyword as well.
Okay.
So you can search it. One other thing I wanted to point out, the lessons do all have a worksheet that's directly correlated to that lesson. So we can either play the lesson or view the worksheet. So if I view the worksheet, this is what it looks like. And you can print these off, and then you also have an answer key. So that's another way, if you have something specific you want that child to work on, you can find the exercise and the worksheet here. The other option I think that would be appropriate is this mixed test worksheet. You can actually put multiple topic areas on this worksheet. So if I click 5th grade, I could do fractions and decimals. I could actually do up to 4. I can hit next.
Okay.
Select the level.
And I don't need to pick the... Okay, yeah. I think I remember seeing that. And you said level A is like easier than level B is easier, right?
Right, so the levels just kind of build on each other. So then we can see... this is the worksheet, and actually has a little scratch paper. And again, you can see the results. How much time do you have?
I have a few minutes.
Okay.
How much time do you have?
Well, I have until 5 o'clock your time. So, is there anything else that you want to see specifically? Because if not, I can just show you some of the other things I was going to show everyone. If not, if you're good and you need to take off, that's fine. I'm just going to continue recording.
Okay, there's 2 more things that I'd like. You said to search by Common Core standard number. I'd like to see that.
Yeah, so if the boxes or this little circle is blue with the check, it means that that's the view that it's set up for. So if I click the Common Core standard view and I click 5th grade, you can see now we have it listed by the domains, and you can see the cluster and then the actual standard. And if you just search it up here, it will pull all of the lessons that have that correlation within that hierarchy.
Okay.
So you can search that. You can do it on like interactive boards or whiteboards, like whole class, small group type of things. It's really good for that. The last thing I wanted to show you, do you have 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Are the extension problems. So we actually have a summer intern program that we go take students trying to get their masters and their doctors in mathematics, and they actually write these problems for us. So we just started this last summer, so we're going to be doing it again this summer. But what they are is they're activities or lessons that are designed for some higher level, deeper levels of knowledge, trying to hit those DOKs. And it's using the interactive board within MathWiz, so you can have manipulatives, but it's actually just, it's like a pre-made lesson that we have all the tools that you need for like exploratory learning exercises. And then we have all of the accompanied documents. So if the teacher needs a document, we supply those. If there's a student worksheet that needs to be downloaded, we supply those. And then you can see we kind of set up this lesson for you. You have your teacher guide to go through the lesson, student documents. But if you want to change it, this is all editable. This is just like setting up for an idea on how to use the extension problems to extend the learning of the kids.
And do you do them online or do you print them out?
If there's a document that needs to be printed, it'll be over here. It will say students. But if it's just the teachers like this, it can just be online. It's just a PDF that you can download.
Okay.
And then we've broken it up into lower elementary. You're probably looking for more of the upper elementary. But as you can see, we have a few here that you have access to. And it jumps you into the interactive board, which is really nice. Is there anything else?
And is it organized just by upper and lower, or it's organized by like content or like a specific strand or anything like that?
So right
you
now
can search for simply?
Yeah, it's just upper and lower. Once we get more content, we'll be able to align it better to a specific grade appropriate level. But just right now, it's just grouped in those upper, lower, and middle school.
And then by the domain over there.
Right, exactly. So what we're looking to do is fill that out. Yep.
Okay. No, yeah, and I think I haven't used this part, but that is, I do remember looking at them last summer and thinking that they were really excellent, so thank you for that reminder.
Yeah, so those... Yo, go ahead.
I thought that there was, I thought that there was a place that I could look at a specific student's, like it breaks it down even further than like the blue bars, like what they're learning. So there was a place that actually showed like what grade level that they were operating at.
Yeah.
At a specific
Common Core standard.
Could you show me where that is?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I just clicked the tab over. So after logging in, you can go to MathWiz Tutoring Plus, click Launch. So you have your class and student level reports. What we want to do is pick a student. So you pick the class they're in, pick the student. Oh, so you want more specific on like Common Core standards that they're working on?
Yes, I seem to remember like a table.
Right, yes. Okay, my apologies.
Okay.
Right, that's in the class level report. And we actually call it our curriculum report because it's going to show you the Common Core coverage that we offer, but it's also going to show you how many, what levels or what standards the kids have actually completed. So what you'll do is you'll go to your class, and it will probably default to 5th grade since they're 5th graders. So it's going to look like this. If they're currently working on standards under this cluster, a circle will populate. So the numerator is the number of standards that we cover. Denominator, are the number of standards that have been completed by the student. And then the total number of standards covered is the denominator. So you can see in this class, some students are here, some students are not. And it's probably going to be the same when you look at your students. There's going to be some stragglers where you can go back, see, okay, who's still working in the 3rd grade? Where do I need to, like this student hasn't even started anything here. You can click and see what's covered. And then to launch the lessons, you actually just click the view button and it will launch the animated lesson right from that report. Is that what you were kind of looking for?
Yes. Yeah, that table. And if there isn't a circle, then they either haven't started or it doesn't exist, the lesson?
If there's no circle, if it's grayed out like this, that means there's 3 standards here, but we don't cover any of them.
Okay.
And then if it's full coverage, and they have a circle there, it means that they have been assessed and are currently working. Once it's green, it means they've assessed and completed all learning objectives or standards. If it's blank, they haven't started it yet.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah.
So this student has completed all of these, hasn't even started with this one. Quarter of the way through this one, beginning of this one. Kind of makes sense?
Yes.
Yeah, so we tried to make it...
And that was under the curriculum view.
Yeah, it's right here. Curriculum view.
Okay.
And it actually pops open a new window. You can change it if you want to just see like a percentage. So I can see, okay, 100% of these have been finished, 60%, just whatever you feel. And then, of course, you can always export. You can actually pull this data out into an Excel file. Downloads here.
Okay, I think that I've been looking for this like under the individual student, not under the class. That's been the problem that I had.
Okay.
Okay. That's good. That's good. That'll definitely be helpful for my student, especially.
Perfect. Do you have a?
I need to figure out where he is.
Do you want me to, or is there anything? Do you want me to look at that student, or do you want to see anything else?
No, I can look at him on my own. Is there anything else that you wanted to cover? I was going back to the email that we had gotten from Jennifer Romer. I think we talked about all of those things. Oh, the interactive board tools, that's for me to teach with.
Right, that's the last thing I was going to show.
With that?
Yeah, do you have some time?
Yeah.
So it's under the extension problems and interactive board. So you don't need an interactive board to use this. We just call it the interactive board because all of the tools you actually interact with.
They're interactive. Yeah.
Right, so you manipulate them. You change, you know, it's just whatever you want. So we just call it interactive board. You click it there.
This is under the teacher resource again?
Yeah, we're still in the teacher's resource.
Okay.
So just like in an Excel file, you have different sheets, and they're all blank when you first log in. But if you ever want to like do a problem on this sheet and then switch over without deleting anything, you just go back and forth here. Down at the bottom are a ton of resources and tools. If you click one of the icons, it will show a list of those tools. And then, like I said, it was all interactive, so you can actually bring out, you know, a rectangle. And when you click on it, if you do have a smart board, you know, the kids can come up and touch it and
neat.
See all the different ways, you know, the rectangle. I really like the cone. Shows you the different, and then the net. So you don't actually have to have the kids cutting out the net pictures and wrapping them up with paper.
Yeah.
Another thing, if you're doing currency, what's kind of cool is when you put, oh, you have a conversion right there, but right now we're doing US currency. So I have a dollar. You can actually put the money in the piggy bank. It'll tell you how much money. Same thing with the wallet. If you're teaching angles, you can actually create your own angles. And then with a protractor here, you can bring it out. And then everything is working as well.
And you can build a graph that way, see down in the middle?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to show you in a second. I wanted to show you this because this Cuisenaire rods and base 10 blocks actually came from the idea from Penny Williams. So we have our Cuisenaire rods and our base 10 blocks. So when you drag them out, you can actually see the rod. So if you're using those, we also have, you know, the regular base 10 blocks that people are more used to. The graphs. So these are all interactive as well. We have the different types of graphs that we offer. But if you have like a set of data that you want the kids to plot, they can just come in here. So they have to name their graph. They have to title it. Maybe it's the school trip, time, distance, and then you can put in whatever values you want. But just for an example, you can see that the graph will then start to populate the data that we put in to our little table.
Okay.
And again, that works as scatter line pie charts. Yep.
Can your line graphs do algebraic equations like 3x plus y type of things?
No.
Or, okay.
It's not that quite.
Just a plain xy? Okay.
Yeah. The numbers we see being used for place value quite a bit because they cover, and you can like pull out the tens, say with the ones. The number line is a big hit. You can change the starting value, so let's say we want to start it at 0, or yeah, and then you can just change whatever factor you're putting in there, and then as we go, you can see them. This might be a little more appropriate as the function machine. You can do like quick facts, like, okay, we know this is 110. Well, that doesn't make sense. I'm going to do multiplication. So that's 100. Okay, so class, what is this number? So you can put the cursor in, have the kids come up and push it, so they can see it's actually 10. Under the dice here, switch my, I don't know that sheet. There's just a bunch of different tools. So if you're teaching probability, you can use our other tools, because everything in MathWiz is actually delivered on a randomly generated number bank. So there's no type of sequence the kids can think of, or if you want to teach them how to play craps, we have some dice here, scales, containers. There's a spinner that's also randomly generated number bank. I've seen teachers use this as an exit activity. They'll hide the squares, but up here at the top you can actually change the value. So then under those squares you can see it updated. So the kids would have to come up and say, okay, what's under this square? And hopefully they can do a mental calculation and tell you what it is. And just one last thing is the hundreds table. With this, you can highlight multiples. So let's say multiples of 9 in red, multiples of 3 in green. You can see how it covers up. So that's the interactive board. Was there anything else on that list that I missed?
No, I don't think so. You covered everything, and I think you answered my questions about assigning or focusing topics.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all I had. They take longer when there's more people, There's more questions, there's more things. So I'm like, but at any time you can always just reach out to us if you have questions about like that, where if I want a kid to work on a specific lesson at a certain level, how do I do that? Just shoot us an email. We're more than happy to get right back to you and show you how to do that.
Of course.
All right.
Well, thank you very much for calling. I'm sorry that the audio wasn't working for me, but
no problem. I'm happy you came.
Yeah, no, thank you. I've been thinking about MathWiz. It's kind of hard, because we once we do state testing, our computer lab time is sort of spent on like practicing and that sort of thing instead of MathWiz. So I'm trying to get back into like getting their numbers all fixed so that they get their time in again. But I do enjoy using the program, and I think it's very useful. So thank you very much for your continued support in Anchorage School District.
Well, thank you, and as always, if you need anything, let us know.
All right, Nick. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.